Evening, everyone. TMA fans' verdicts. All right, Major Tom. Sneaks him in there last minute. Fans' verdicts, everyone. Let's get all your opinions through from the 2-2 draw away at Sunderland. Fantastic performance, but I'll let you guys elaborate on that. Like I say, introductions as always, Major Tom and Sir Dunk, keeping in boys. Thanks for joining us, mates. All right. As always, we're in association with the TMA Former Players Club. Big shout out to Pricey and Luther. Head on over to Facebook for that, and we'll share the link as always. But 2-2 draw away at Sunderland Stadium of Light this afternoon. Early kickoff. Certainly unexpected for many, but enough about that from me. Let's get everyone's opinion on that. Obviously, message through. So Dunk, mate. We had a little bit of a chat beforehand, but what did you make of that?
I mean, we would have taken a draw before the game. And if you said we'd finish 2-2 and have quite a strong performance overall, quite frankly, we'd have snapped your hand off for it. So I think it was the right result today. I think we actually contained Sunderland pretty well for the most part. Isidore was a big menace up front, but Pollock and Abankwah overall acquitted themselves very well again. I think they look a really strong pairing in the middle. I still think Larouci and Andrews, there's not much balance defensively between them, but that's more just the condition of our squad at the moment. I think that I'll touch on the big positives. First off, Doumbia, I thought, was a massive positive up front. He has good movement, had a good burst of pace on him, and he actually did quite good hold-up play. More than once, he brought the ball down from the air and managed to actually link up play, which is something we've been crying out for weeks and weeks and weeks. And we don't want to put pressure on him because he's only 18, 19. But it's really positive. He seems to be willing and ready to be able to contribute now. And that's on top of Loser scoring an absolute blinder of a goal. So even Sissoko at right wing actually looked sort of not accomplished, but at least he actually looked like he fit there a lot more than the midfield, which was, I did see that little Taylor in the background. And I think it's just nice to see the team have a ball balance, even though we're stretched thin. Tom?
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that. I actually thought it was harsh. As fair as a result as it was, I felt the way how it was so late was harsh. I'll get on to the little bit of criticism in a minute, but I thought, I'd have taken that from the start, and I thought we'll get better today. I thought that back two partnership in this middle, in defence, that could be key going forward. Like you say, solid. We could do better for the goals. We got to stop conceding from set pieces, but something to work on, especially with Leeds coming Tuesday. I thought Larouci, not a big fan of him, but I thought he had a really good game today. I do think he played well. Who was right back again?
Andrews.
Andrews, that was it. Really good. Sissoko, I thought, did fairly well on that right. Doumbia, like you said, the link-up play, his pace. And Duncan, one thing you did mention was when he missed that head, when he had that header saved, and good save, by the way, keeper, let's make no mistake about it. But he didn't just do what most strikers with us do, and just stand there and hold their head. He went and chased the ball back. The split second, the goalkeeper saved it and ended up winning the penalty on the back of that, which ultimately got us back into the game. I thought Loser was excellent today. What a goal. Actually, what a finish that was. Could be a contender for goal of the season with the way that just curled right in. No goalkeeper saves that. There's nothing really, not many bad things to say about today apart from the way we conceded those two goals. I think we need to start cutting that out. But if we can start cutting that out, we could try and start charging towards the playoffs. But one step at a time.
Yeah. I'm just looking, mate. Yeah, no, it says 5 at the back confused them, but it was 4 at the back with loser shielding.
That was after the substitution for Sierralta. I think that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, after Sierralta one, but yeah, at the start it was 4. But yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I thought we'd done really, really well. I thought Doumbia was excellent. New keeper was excellent as well, and yeah, I think it's just the fine margins. I said that to Dunk that, we didn't. There in some way we deserved to win, but like I always say, we deserved the draw because it was fine margins, and the only negatives were the fact that we struggle with set pieces. But apart from that, I was really happy with the performance. I thought we played really, really well. Like I say, losers goal was amazing. It's definitely a goal of the season contender. There's 1 or 2 that certainly fall in that category as well, that being one of them. But yeah, overall, I was really, really happy with that. Plenty of positives to come from that. Tough away game at Sunderland. Haven't lost all season at home, if I believe, as well. So we were very unlucky in that sense as well. Doumbia certainly showed that he can be more than capable of playing up top on his own in that game as well. I said to Dunk before we went live as well that he's going to have bad games. He's only 18. He's still going to be learning. But on the evidence of that, he looks really, really good. He looks excellent. So I think when he goes through a bad patch, and obviously touch wood, we hope he doesn't, but every player goes for it. We just need to make sure we support him and, cheer him on as much as we can, because it's all a learning curve for him, but it's certainly looking good. And 110%, give him a run in the team. Let him, play badly or not, give him a run in the side, let him learn on the job. And I think he done really well winning the penalty as well. Well dispatched by Delibashiru. Fantastic penalty from him. And really, really pleased overall, by the way, boys. Just before we go on, just a few shout outs to Lucy said, hey ladies, Halsey, evening geezers. Shame they got a late goal, but we didn't lose. Cusack, evening mate. He says black shorts and black socks was the key. Black shorts and socks, saw Taylor. Mr. Higgins, evening mate, says perfect display. Caleb's fucked it up by bringing on an additional offender. Up till that time, we matched them. Dave was absolute class today. It's from Cusack. 5 at the back confused them for some Stewart. Selvik seems to have a good effect on the team as well. Some Halsey, good shout, mate. Loser did nothing bar his goal. He's also said we set up stall, we went under straight, bloody great performance, man of the match, keeper. I mean that's another thing, boys. Who's your man of the match? Because I think Selvik more than capably won that man of the match. I mean, I throw Doumbia around there as well, but I think Selvik probably won it for me. What do you reckon?
That's a hard one. Until the last 5 minutes, I probably would have given it to Loser, because I thought he was really pulling the strings in our midfield today, even more than Chak was, who seemed more like his old self. But in the last 50 minutes, Chak went missing because we just weren't getting. Because, as Stuart rightly says, Clev did fuck up with the substitution, but to mitigate that a little bit is because can you get the teams up?
Yeah, of course, mate.
Because we think we had like half a bench of academy players on the. Let me just get a bigger for myself. Yeah,
we did, mate.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Eddie Poker, Romero Despan. A third of our bench were academy players, and the other you've got Kevin coming back from a long-term injury, and
Nabazada is a good player.
Yeah, but my
Who's
point
that, sorry?
being, we are so under strength.
Yeah.
What else? And you could see our players were fading. Loser was fading the last 15. We were Delibashiru was fading to the point where he had to be substituted for Ince. I think it was. Am I right or wrong in saying that?
I think you're right. Anyone who can correct us in the comments.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if that's right, but I'm going to go with that. I remember him, and I think it was who went down with cramp. It was Delibashiru and someone else, but you can see we were fading in midfield, and our only real senior option in the midfield at that point
Where did Sissoko?
Our Ince.
Was it Sissoko?
He was on the right wing.
I know he went
Sissoko
off
started
late.
right wing, so you can't.
Oh, here we go.
Thanks,
Nick's
Nick.
corrected
Yeah.
it. There we are.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even Doumbia was fading a little bit, which is understandable given. That's right. Doumbia was the other one. Sorry, he went down with cramp. And yeah, so I know it's a little bit rambling. I know that, and I agree that with the sentiment that changing, putting on Sierralta when we were matching man for man seemed to be a really backwards choice because we were doing well man for man, but we were fading. And look at the difference in the bench depth that Sunderland had versus we had. And that falls back on the ownership not backing cleverly during the window, giving him suitable options to keep the man for man option that Sunderland had. So I completely agree with you, Stuart. That was a cock up on Cleverly's part, but it's enforced because he doesn't have the squad depth to make it happen and keep man for man in that way. Tom?
Yeah, man of the match. I'm going to make it quick because I've got to shoot off now.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
That's right.
To be fair to the goalkeeper, he didn't actually have much to do apart from pick the ball out of the net and that chance at the end that they had, which is you want the goalkeeper to have a quiet. But he did look when he did have the ball, particularly when they were delivering set pieces. He looked calm. He looked assured. He looked confident. Something that we don't see from our previous two keepers. I actually felt dropping Bond was a bit harsh, to be honest. But is it Selvig or Selvik?
Selvik, yeah.
I can't pronounce it. Yeah,
Got a hard
his pronounced pronunciation. Oh, fuck off. His performance justified that decision completely. Yeah, tough one, man. Match him loser. Even Sissoko really with Delhi. Could be a choice for one of them four. But I'm gonna give it to loser though. I think just because he might not have done much apart from score, but he did what he was supposed to do. Just sit in front of that defence and don't let him go through the middle. And apart from the very end, did just that. But Selvik, I think, will be a close second. I think.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Yeah, definitely.
And on that note,
Nick, he says, I thought Guillermo played really well, by the way, Nick.
In which case, then, see you later, Tom.
See you later, Tom. Cheers,
Bye,
mate.
guys.
Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, big shout out to Tom there. Cheers, mate. Nice one. Yeah, no, it's a good shout there from Nick. Just before we get on, boys and girls, I did post that up as well. The Golden Girls are away, 2 p.m. kickoff tomorrow. I believe that's Cardiff City women, but they've rebranded, so it's Gwalia United, but they're away tomorrow 2 p.m. so look out for updates then. If you can go on the Watford ladies supporters group as well, the link's up on the forum for the latest news and updates. If we don't cover it, they certainly will. So big shout out to boys and girls there. Also big shout out to new dual signing goalkeeper Madison Millington Stanbury, who's on joint registration from Arsenal. She's just joined the women's, and promotion winning goalkeeper Goldsmith, Jackie Goldsmith, has left the club to join Fulham. So that's some news on the women's front. But like Tom was saying, if keeper had a bad game, then obviously there'd be cries for why was Bond dropped. But like Tom said, it was certainly justified, the inclusion. But we've got some decent youngsters on the bench. I agree that it is very weak in terms of numbers because of injuries and so forth. But we've got some really talented youngsters. That Blissett is a really good player. Spirit, let me just throw that up once again. I'll show which ones as well. We know how good Adapuku's could potentially be anyway. Ramirez is Spain, is potentially a very, very good player on the wings. You know, you've got Eames, Greaves, he's out on loan at the moment to further his development. So we've got a few coins waiting in the wings as well in the reserves, or shall we say reserves, the under 21s, under 23s. So we've got a few youngsters coming in. And obviously Tom knows about them, which is obviously massive help. And recently, the club have said they're backing Tom. I know this holds as much weight as a chocolate kettle, but you know they've come out publicly and said, "Is Alan Brazil going to watch the ladies?" I don't know, mate. But you know, look, some of the stuff I'm a, you know, I don't go to many women's games, but I think it's fantastic. I think the women's game is up and coming, but with Brazil, he only spoke facts at the time of the way it is at the moment, as far as I'm concerned. I agree with what he said, but yeah, certainly on the up. And like I say, if you can make a women's game, I think the Plymouth game possibly could be at the Vic. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they were looking at putting that in the Vic this month, I think. So yeah, so there'll be one or two coming to the Vic, hopefully. So get yourself down there. Decent price tickets and see some football as well. Yeah, at the interview, yeah, they did. Yeah, for me, delight. Yeah, let's hope that cat stays that way, mate, because we've heard it all before. So let's hope the club stick by him. Really, they should stick by him long term, especially with the youngsters coming through. Not much money thrown about, as you saw in the January transfer window. I know one or two clubs was disappointed that I think one or two were at the training ground and the moves didn't go through. So really shame in that respect. But yeah, it's nice to see as far as making sounds towards that they're backing him. So let's hope long term they can do it. But looking ahead, mate, I think Leeds coming up on Tuesday, isn't it? If I'm wrong in saying, is Leeds coming up
just
Tuesday,
checking
mate?
fixtures. Yeah, Tuesday 11th at home, 7:45.
Yeah, next couple of games, mate. Like I say, with Leeds, Borough, and those lot as well in the next couple of weeks, mate. It's certainly a tasty couple of weeks coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, we generally seem to. I think I've said this one before. We generally seem to raise our levels who we're playing against. If we're playing against a team higher up the table, we do seem to find another gear. Whereas if we're playing someone lower down the table, we don't seem to be able to, I don't know, motivate ourselves or otherwise find that same gearing against teams higher up. So I feel more optimistic than I did against some of the previous runs, because that always seems to be a case with us recently. It's a mentality thing. We can't seem to shake it. But Leeds you have to think that we're at home playing Leeds away, and remember, I think did they beat us 2-1 or 2-0?
I think it might have been 2-0, but if anyone can once again correct us, yeah, it was tight anyway. It wasn't.
Remember that both of their goals came from backman errors. At least
wasn't
one.
Wasn't it straight after the City game?
I think it might have been at the time, and I thought they obviously solid, but I think Leeds were outstanding that game. And they're two, like I said, two of the goals came from notable backman errors when he was coming back from injury. So I feel like we've got more than a fair chance against them. In some respects, more than we played Cardiff or other teams, because we always seem to, as I said before, we seem to match our levels to them. So,
do you think that's game management? And this is not or mentality thing. It's not necessarily blaming clubs, but teams. We seem to. I mean, this has been going a few years. We seem to play better against teams that open up more. When teams play a bit more isolated and try and do a smash and grab, we seem to struggle a lot. We don't seem to have that key to unlock them. With the teams like the Sunderlands and the Leeds, we seem to play a little bit better because it leaves the game a bit more open. What do you put that down to? Game management or just a general opposition culture?
I think a bit of mentality. I think it's a bit of everything. As you say, completely right saying that if we've got players who can really hurt teams on the break. We've had that over the last couple of years, whether it was Sarr, Pedro, whoever else at the time. And now we've got Chapatadze, loser, who's now looking really motivated, actually wants to play for us. And he's now critical to our midfield. So I think it was Which game was it where he wasn't available and we really looked flat in midfield? Can't think which game it was.
Oh God, I think I'll tell you what though, we look further flat when Delibashiri's not playing.
Him and Loser are the only players I can think of who are good at playing fast one-touch football when trying to play out from the back. Where Delibashiri is very good at taking a ball under pressure and turning with it, or otherwise making a first-time pass accurately. Only Loser is the other one who can do that, but it makes such a difference to being press resistant and actually getting out of pressing traps, which is why Sunderland looked at times like they couldn't actually get the ball off us, which was really unusual for us. We normally struggle heavily in possession, but Sunderland were more laboured passing it forward, especially in the second half, where they seemed to kick out of play quite a lot, trying to get down the wings, down the side of us.
Mm.
So,
yeah, I think, sorry, go on, carry on, Dunk. Sorry, mate.
That's right. And I think I can't believe Sissoko works better at right wing than the central midfield, but I actually think he is working quite well there. He seems to be using his strength a lot more effectively. I think because he's not having the run in midfield as much, he's able to conserve his energy more out wide and he's able to outmatch what's normally, generally speaking, wingers and fullbacks are smaller than players in the middle. So he's able to more easily outmatch them physically. And we saw at times some decent technical ability on the ball to hold it and actually keep the ball higher up. So I think I'd rather have Vatter there. I think that's very obvious to say. But if you give me a choice between Sissoko out wide and Vatter out wide, I know who I'm putting there as first choice. But I think actually we might have actually found a position which works better to Sissoko's attributes going forward. And who was it that said it earlier today? Nick G about Kembe playing well.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair comment. I don't think he was great, Kembe, but it certainly was better than we've seen in recent weeks by a long way. And I think it's just a case of, I think it's a bit of confidence, bit of energy. I think having, you say, Loser and Delibashiru are critical to us at the moment because it's bringing out the potential more in other players.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the formation at the start as well. It was a 4-2-3-1, and Sissoko could work better in that rather than playing a flat 4-4-2 because then he would be required to run up and down the wing far more. With that formation that we played today at the start, you can supplement him on the right wing there. Like you said, he uses power. I mean, the days of him 7-8 years ago when he was a box-to-box player are long gone, so we've got to try and disguise his flaws and bring out his strengths. I mean, look, I'm not comparing him to Pirlo, but in terms of the age thing, the Italians' great management in the likes of the Pirlos and the Seedorfs, when they were at the mid to late 30s, they knew they couldn't do certain things, so they masked them, put them in the right positions where it didn't show their weaknesses. And it's a similar sort of conundrum, but a very, very smaller version of it with Sissoko, where, we know he's past his best. We know he can still do a job. So the best way of doing it, like you said, put him out on the wing in a certain formation, which hides a lot of his weaknesses, but he can still be effective. And that's what we need to do with him because Loser is fantastic. Loser can come and claim the ball. That was one that we've been missing for ages. Come and claim the ball. Delibashir and both of them can, like you said, get out of tight situations far more quicker than when we had with Sissoko. And they can use their pace a bit more. The intelligence is still there with Sissoko, but I think you never lose the sight. It's just the legs. And in terms of getting out quicker and holding possession, I think we are better with Loser and Delibashir in that centre. I mean, Loser's like a new signing because we barely saw him last season. And, he's back. I mean, Dino's put it out there quite a lot as well. Since that injury back against Blackpool, he never looked the same player. He's starting to look like the player that we first signed now. That player that would get in, he still can't header for nothing because he's just too small. He can't get up there high enough. But everything else, coming, getting the ball, starting play, spreading it out, trying to dictate the play, he's almost back to his best, really. And yeah, I'm really impressed with him. But I think out of all the players in centre midfield, we missed Delabashiri the most. I really did think we missed him big time. But like Crouchy's saying, hopefully Vata's back Tuesday. That'll be a plus, won't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's in some ways it's easy to forget because we did miss him today, I think. But it wasn't like we were struggling as we normally did out there, which is a nice change of pace to say. So I think cleverly he's gone through a very, very rough patch. And I think there's a very big argument to say he's not been properly supported. But he does seem to be working out through this now. You can see that the players are still playing for him. You can see that the fans throughout this whole time, me included, we want him to stay. Absolutely no question there. It's just a case of, hopefully, we seem to have stabilised on the injury front. We only have Bachmann, Duomo, who's the other two? Sorry, I can't think off the top of my head.
Oh, God,
but we seem to be managing that a little bit better now. And it seems like Cleverly's starting to adapt more. He's actually thinking of solutions rather than panicking and changing as much, especially at the back. He's now actually, for the first time, I can recall, settled on a back two for more than 2 games in a row between Pollock and Abankwa. So if that's your centre-back pairing, they're only going to get better playing together. Whether you put in Ngaki or Larucci, depending on the game, and at left wing and then or left back, sorry, and then rotate right back according as you need to. But I think we're starting to turn a corner, hopefully. Even if we lose against Leeds, I think from this point going forward, we're starting to see we're finding that balance again that we've really lacked in recent weeks and recent months.
Yeah, I mean, Bondi, I'll go on about the keepers as well. I mean, I completely agree with what you're saying, but Bondi, I thought done really well. I couldn't blame him for any real error at all. I thought he covered himself fantastic. Selvik, look, I mean, his kicking is really good as well.
Such a difference.
Like I say, I'm not gushing over him after one game. I'm just literally commenting on what I've seen so far, because I know there's going to be times when we're going to look at him and go, could he have done better, blah, 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 and all that. But at the moment, viewing all what we've seen so far, his kicking's better. I think the team, this is taking Bond out of it. I think the team look a lot more, especially defence, look a lot more calmer with him at the back. That goes twofold. The centre-backs need to have trust in their keeper and vice versa. I think that looked a lot more assured there as well. I think they didn't look too bad with Bondi, to be fair, but I think much more with Selvik as well. So let's see how it goes. But we like you said, and this is down to experience with Klebs. He's come out as well on the out on the website as well and said, look, he's looking for solutions now. Like you said, rather than panicking, he's looking for solutions to what he's got. And thing is, though, as well, it could, like we saw with Bilic for a small period, when we had a lot of injuries, it galvanised the team and they all worked together. That's what they need to do now. And on the evidence of today, if they can carry it on to Tuesday, which we've seen before, sometimes it doesn't happen, but fingers crossed they can. They can all club together and say, look, this is where we are. This is what we have to deal with. Let's just get on with it. Let's not moan or cry about it. Just big just a couple comments, mate, as well, just before we go. And obviously, I'll let you have the last word, mate. Stuart saying nothing from Leeds. 3 points against the scum ain't enough to get into the playoffs, as suggested by the Potzers and Klebs. Like Crouchy said, hopefully Vata's back on Tuesday. Melanie, hello Melanie. Evening, she says there was some negativity after today, but I was really encouraged by the performance, and 1 point off Sunderland at their ground, not expected. Yeah, absolutely spot on there. Mr. Cusack, it's no coincidence we're better without Bio, Batchman and Bond. The Bond bit's a little bit harsh. The other two, I can see the differences. Yeah, I don't want to hate on them, but you can see a difference with Dumby up front and the new keeper at the back as well. The confidence, there is a slight difference. I do agree in that sense. I don't want to hate on them, but yeah, you can see a difference. You know, that's clear to see. But yeah, before we go, mate, go on. You reel it in, mate, and do your last bit, whatever you want to do, mate.
Yeah, again, Bio does have a role to play with us. I like to support every player we have, even if there's fair criticism of them as well. And Bio has had plenty of fair criticism. But we also don't want to put too much pressure on Doumbia, who's moved to this country back in August from a completely different culture and country. Looks really promising. I think he's playing with no pressure in some respects, because he's had none till now put on him by the management. He's just been left to adapt in his own pace and his own time, as was the intention when we signed him. And the intention was second half of the season, which is why I was given the wild card, as they call it, slot, because they were hoping he'd be adapting around this time now and ready to contribute. So, but because he's that age, we have to, once Bio's available off suspension, it won't just be Doumbia starting, but I think going forward now, Cleverley has to be more willing to give him game time and starts than he was previously. And so keep that in mind with him. Don't expect the world of him yet, but he looks really promising.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. Plenty of positives to come from that today. So hopefully onwards and upwards against Leeds. Right, I did say he was going to have the last word. Apologies, mate. I'm just going to shout out. Yeah, you know, I'm never going to do that. No, only joking, mate. We'll see you tomorrow night, as always. TMA Sunday Live, where you choose the topics. We will discuss them 8 p.m. as always. We'll throw out the link, the chat as always, so you can post up your comments, your topics. Obviously, as always, first three we will try and always guarantee to throw them out there, and any additional stuff we can throw out tomorrow. So we'll see you tomorrow night at 8. Go on, Dunk, you do the last bit, mate.
Thank you for listening.